taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week. This is Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Augmented Reality podcast for April 8th, 2020. This is your source for news, leaks, and insights about games and the gaming industry. The Wednesday edition of the show, and wow, is there a lot to talk about today. It's kind of gone crazy. We have a whole list of things to mention. We finally have Cyberpunk news, coming out every which way, and the hint of things to come. Cyber's pretty sure that they're going to be starting to heat up their marketing campaign really soon, so we're going to dive into all of that. Number of games just about to come out, rumors about other games, and just a whole variety of things, plus some hilarious goings-on and hilarious new memes related to the gaming industry. So anyway, thank you all for joining us, everybody who is active in the live chat. Hello to all of you. Notional's giving out pigs in a blanket. Neon Arcade's with us. Shout out to you. Bunch of our regulars. Game Notes, Robin, Ali, King Weeby, Sunglare, Overlord 580. Welcome to all of you. Kimberly, Bednar. Don't recognize your name if you're new to the podcast. Hello, and thanks for joining us. If I missed your name, sorry. Chat's scrolling by rather fast today, so. All right, and I'm here as always with Cyber City. And how are you doing today, sir?
Good. I mean, like you said, it's a big news day, and there's a lot of really, like, on top of just regular news, there's some really funny stuff today that we have to cover. So yeah, we're gonna do that today too. So yeah, it's good to finally have like news, and you're right. And we've been saying this for a while. We suspected that the CDPR has got stuff that they have to kick off their promotional campaign sometime. I don't think I've ever explained it, but they have to kick off their promotional campaign before May, essentially. Okay. So I'll go into kind of like why that is. I mean, they don't have to, but I mean, it's just common sense 101 when it comes to marketing. So yeah, so we'll kind of touch on that on in combination with all the other great news that we have today. So yay.
All right, absolutely. If you are listening live today, please do say hello in the live chat. Of course, a lot of you have already been doing that. And also slam that like button. It helps us with the algorithms, and it tells us that you appreciate this content. We really appreciate that. All right. Some funny news to kick things off. So with the quarantine, lockdown, all of that stuff that's going on, real life sports, of course, is taking a dip, and esports is on the rise. And one of those is NASCAR that's gone virtual. And, so there was this event apparently that was getting real NASCAR drivers in to play in virtual NASCAR racing. And so real life NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace lost his real world NASCAR sponsorship after rage quitting a racing game. That was part of an event that was being broadcast online. So this was in the...
He's probably like, this is the future. This is the future. I'm done. I quit. I hate you all. I'm leaving.
Yeah. So iRacing features 30-plus drivers from the highest levels of NASCAR, and one of those was Bubba Wallace. And... So in an event this past Sunday, Bubba Wallace was in lap 11 of 150, battling for position with Clint Bowyer. And so off the corner, Wallace had a run and got to the right rear of Bowyer. This is a long... I don't know how to say this guy's name. Anyway, I won't read all this. Suffice it to say, he got ticked off at this other driver and rage quit the event. And then tweeted Bubba out. No, someone else tweeted that, but anyway, he tweeted Bubba Wallace, his official Twitter, tweeted, "Bahaha, I'm dying at my mentions right now. I ruined so many people's day by quitting a video game. Bahaha, a video game. Quarantine life is rough." And then company Blue Emu, who sponsors him in real life, says, "Good to know where you stand. Bye-bye, Bubba. We're interested in drivers, not quitters."
Oh, fun stuff.
So yeah, it just goes to show professionalism will go a long way, and like if he had if he had at least tried to take that event he was part of seriously, he'd still have his sponsorship. Okay, another thing out this week. There's a new PlayStation controller design that people are just memeing the heck out of this thing because it's just one of the funniest looking things. I'm just gonna grab a couple of the funniest ones here that have been posted on our Discord. Meant to do this before the show started, but unfortunately we're just busy scraping stories together. So, yeah, okay. I'm just gonna switch over to. That's from an old episode. So here's one of them. I love this. So we've got, yeah. So this new controller, juxtaposed against Andre the Giant. There.
I miss Andre. He was a great guy. I don't really see this one, so
You don't see it?
I don't see the I don't see it.
You gotta. Okay, your computer. I guess you're not designed to see these kinds of things in your computer core. But anyway,
That I just don't see that one.
what about this one?
Still no.
You don't
Like,
get.
sort of. I mean, I sort of get it.
It looks
But
like the
it's
dang
like-
thing is wearing a tank top or a onesie or something. It's trust me, it's hilarious. You'll just have to take my word for it. So, yeah. So this is the new DualShock controller, and yeah, people are having a lot of fun with this one.
Now the anime one I got. Do you get the anime one?
Anime one? No. No, I don't have the anime one.
Oh.
If you want to send it to me, I'll throw it up. But anyway, thanks to everyone who is busy posting those on our Discord server. Thank you for all of that. By the way, join the Discord server for a ton of hilarious things like this. Lots of great conversations happening there as well, and some other fun things that I won't spoil for you. But yeah, check out the last several days of conversation in the Nuka-Cola Lounge for if you want to see what's happening there. I inadvertently inspired something on Saturday's podcast. I inadvertently inspired somebody to start creating something.
This is all your fault. This is all your fault. It's all your fault. I just need to make that clear. It's all your fault. I mean, I can't blame Time Bean. Time Bean's just doing what Time Bean does, and
yes, I've been given full credit for inspiring this, and but it's rather
100% awesome.
It's rather hilarious, and it's giving a chance for our community to showcase their creativity because a lot of people have gotten involved. I won't spoil it. Maybe we'll talk about it on a future podcast.
I was a little scared on Monday morning. I was just a little frightened, but no, we're good now. We're good now. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes, it's mayhem, Robin. It's mayhem. All right. So what else do we have for sort of lighthearted news here? Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll do my last one.
So I was perusing medical journals, as I do, looking for the latest news and information on anything and everything that's relevant to current situations or pretty much everything else. Yeah, just kind of perusing everything, keeping up to date on the latest medical science, and I discovered something that is truly and completely amazing. There is now a toilet system that personalizes health monitoring for analysts for analyzing and data collection to keep you healthy. Now, I have had two friends pass away from stomach and gut cancer, and a device like this certainly would have saved their lives. It's no laughing matter for what it's utilized for, and I would hope that this thing becomes 100% commonplace in everybody's house. The technology is not actually that expensive. They can eventually this will get down to the average cost of basically a smartphone, essentially. Um, and I think this is really good. I think this is really healthy. It can monitor. It can actually develop a network and monitor you no matter where you go. But it
So it's scanning and gathering health info from what you do with the toilet.
yeah, from what you do in the toilet, it will scan your various things. And you might say, well, oh, this is cool. And if you're into like medical science at all, that'll be your reaction. If you're not, then you'll be like, what? WTF? But no, from like, it's great. You might be asking, but Saib, how does it know who you are versus anybody else who uses it? Well, as it turns out, your derriere-ish area, center of it, if you know what I mean, happens to have it's as unique as a fingerprint, and it can just fingerprint scan you,
And that's how it knows who you are.
and that's how it knows who you are.
Wow.
So it automatically knows and can figure out exactly who you are. Cause
Well, this is one of those situations where it's like this is a great medical innovation, and yet, and it's going to save lives, but you just know this is going to be insane meme fodder because it is so funny.
well, I mean, this article was published on the 6th, and already there's like several pages worth of memes on pretty much every social media site.
Okay, I've got to read.
So I mean,
I've got to read Warlock's comment here. So you sit down and it'll start analyzing you.
it's pronounced
much-
analyzing you. Yes, it'll start analyzing
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's certainly interesting. I mean, gut health definitely an important part of health that is sometimes neglected. But
Well,
man, that's funny.
I think you know who I'm referring to. Died from gut cancer about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Anyway, so it's again, this technology is great, but it's just meme worthy. So if you're gonna take part in these memes, just try to offer like a side note. But seriously, this is actually a really good thing, because it is. It really, really is. This thing can do what this thing, like this, and there was another technology a few years ago that was being worked on, where you would install like a full body mirror in your bedroom, and it would be hooked up with a device that basically scanned your skin for any kind of like lesions or signs of cancer and other things. It could just scan you every single day, and if it found anything abnormal, it would alert you, and then it would take like close-ups of particular spots, and then it would forward it to your dermatologist or your regular medical doctor, and then you could get set up with this stuff. And again, it's like if you can catch cancer in its first stage, like every single time, you can treat it and probably cure it almost like 100% of the time. And so
the
these
advancements in that
technologies
area are
really cool. Yeah. So
it's crazy.
yeah.
The medical advancements. I mean, it's a great time to be alive, and the technology that we have is mind blowing. It's fantastic.
Growing quickly.
Speaking of memes,
and
though,
you
by
know
the way,
what?
this controller, this is the new DualSense controller for the PS5. That's what got unveiled, and so I called it the Dual Shock, but it's called the DualSense, and it's the new controller for the PS5. And yeah, people are just having a heck of a
Did
lot
you
of
get
fun.
mine? Did you get mine?
I got
Because this-
yeah. I haven't put it up yet though. I don't think
okay.
I'll have time to grab it, but yeah, there's some other funny ones. Cy will post his on the meme channel if nothing else.
Oh, it's in the meme channel. I believe.
Oh, someone already posted it. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody else posted. I think it was Ghost.
I can't believe nobody
posted
saw
it.
this and realized this thing looks like it's wearing a tank top with the thumbsticks strategically placed. Like, how did that get past? What you have to do, you have to run your designs past a bunch of 12-year-olds
Well,
and see what they see in
in
it.
this case, for mine, which was posted by Somnolence, so Somnolence gets the credit for the one that I sent you. This is PlayStation 5 Controller Chan.
Controller Chan, nice.
Controller Chan, hello, Controller Chan, you're so pretty.
Yes.
So yeah, and I mean now, I mean most people know that there's a game that features, all of the consoles as characters. So yeah, I've got to say that I'm looking forward to this edition, and I hope we all get Controller Chan. I hope each one of them gets some kind of like Controller Chan. So yeah.
All right, and finally, in lighthearted news of the day, so of course, with everything getting locked down, protests in Hong Kong have been stifled. So they've decided to move online, and there are Hong Kong protests happening in Animal Crossing. It's rather funny. You can find screenshots online of people with their protest signs and other things, that cute little animals with speech bubbles saying "Free Hong Kong" and all kinds of things like that. So, anyway, keep on keeping on, protesters. All right, that would only be funnier if Animal Crossing was a Blizzard game, but it's not. It's Nintendo, or anyway, it's on Nintendo. Can't remember the name of the company that actually made the game, but all right. So we're going to move on here to the more serious news and the more exciting news. We have a lot to talk about with regard to Cyberpunk 2077 today.
Yeah.
So buckle up. Lots going on. First thing, they have posted a contest on their official Twitter, where you can submit designs for your sort of dream Cyberpunk-themed PC case. And one of 5 professional case modding teams will make the best entries come to life. Now, I'm assuming that means like you win your case design or something. I'm actually just going to follow the link here and see what it says and hope that this tab doesn't make noise. But anyway, yeah, so unleash your creativity and design a PC case mod in the Cyberpunk 2077 style. If your entry is selected by our panel of judges, you'll be able to team up with a professional case modder to turn your design concept into reality. Want to make something truly exceptional, etc., etc. So, yeah, I don't see the details here, like if you win your case design or if it's like if it just gets made and sold somewhere. I would hope they would give you one.
I'm pretty sure you'll end up.
I would hope so. Like it would. It'd be unfortunate if you came up with this groundbreaking design and then we're like, okay, now it's on sale at Best Buy, but I can't afford it or something.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and we got to look at so just kind of attached to this news is the news that the winners of some of the graphics cards were won and were handed out, and those cards have hit eBay, and some of them are selling north of 4,000 USD.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thousands and thousands of British pounds I saw.
I am definitely not going to be getting one of those. I mean, I still want to, and I'm still going to keep my eye out on eBay for the next couple of years. But I'm personally thinking that that I might hopefully one day be able to get this as a collector's item after it's been, used for many years, and it's just like just somebody's just posting it up there to make a couple $100. But yeah, like cool, awesome, and I really wish they would have sent us like a whole bunch of them. But yeah, that would have been fixed.
So Scadrill says you win your case design because the modded case is based on the case you own. Okay, interesting. Tarika Winnigan, why would you win something that cool and want to put it on eBay? Well, we don't actually know that these are the ones that were won necessarily, although it's very likely.
Guarantee you.
It's very likely, but I mean, there were 200 made, 77 were given out in the contest. That leaves 123 that we don't know where they ended up. If they're sitting in a warehouse somewhere or if they were given to people, but it's possible some of those got into the hands of people who are selling them. Or it could be ones that got one.
And we can't forget that, I mean, whenever you do any kind of a giveaway on Steam, on Twitter, you will have hundreds of bot accounts creating, joining in, and it's for the sake of just trying to win these competitions. And they just enter in the thousands for these competitions. And basically, every once in a while when somebody does win it, then they're just turning around and selling the stuff on eBay. Like, that's just the process that works when it comes to this kind of stuff. So welcome to the wonderful wide world of Twitter giveaways.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we've got all of that, and then we have some pictures to show you. These were posted on CDPR's Twitter recently, and Cyb, you wanted to talk about these, so we've got some pictures from inside of the CDPR's offices. We're putting them up on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, they put them up just recently. This is their one of their meeting rooms, and one of their waiting rooms has been decked out a la Cyberpunk style. And they do this a lot. We noticed this when we took their virtual tour, over a year ago. They like making and crafting and creating things in their office to give that ambient feel, right? Kind of puts you in the mind for it, puts your head where where you can kind of imagine this stuff and see it, every day, every minute. It's inspiring you, and nothing's cooler when you're inspired than living in this kind of thing. It's like it's like that group of people who are living in a scale version of the Enterprise, and they've just been living in there for years and years and years, waiting for space travel to become a thing, so they can just pop out and. No, that's not a thing. I made that up. But no, seriously, like this helps you with the ambiance. This helps you kind of feel that, live that, and and that's a good thing. It's nothing but a good thing to see this kind of stuff. There is a dude who did a scale version of the bridge in his house, and they use it for filming every once in a while for fan projects. It's kind of crazy. But anyways,
I was going to say a scale version of the entire Enterprise would be humongous, but
yeah, it would be like a giant building, actually.
Yeah.
But
yeah, all right. And then there's this other picture here that you wanted to talk about. I don't even know what this is. What are we looking at?
So this is a picture we just forgot to mention this. This was about a. Oh no, that is definitely not the right picture. Yeah, that is definitely not the right picture.
These folding swords are not the right. They're not the picture you meant to send me.
Not the right picture. Nope.
Okay then.
I have no idea how that happened. Wow. Gotta love Discord. Just absolutely got to love Discord.
I think it was user error.
This is the one that I meant to send you.
If you meant to send it and sent the wrong one, you can't blame Discord for that.
No, well, it's not Discord. It's how the thing highlights and sends things during because my mouse is all screwed up. So yeah, no, go for this one. The folding sword. No, that has to do with some of the book stuff that I'm writing. But no, this is the appropriate one here.
All right. Oh, I'm gonna have to hang on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get rid of
that
one.
To. There we go.
So this is one that dropped back on March 6th. We just didn't highlight it. It's the close-up of the Pure Arts 1/6 scale model V that they're doing. It's got the light-up collar in it, and it's just it's light up on his face and whatever. And it didn't look that great when they were like when they had scaled back and we saw it kind of as the whole standing model. This is the actual like zoom up of it, and I gotta say it looks really good. Like as far as like the quality and the texture, like the fingers are really well done, the face is really well done. Um, you know, they even got stubble on his beard that you can see. So yeah, no, a it's not just a paint job. It's like this is really well crafted. So yeah. So anyways,
Well, okay.
yeah. So no,
The is this actually a picture
yes, of the
of the
dog.
model?
Yes.
Because that's insane. Because it looks like a CG render.
No, I'm pretty sure that this is an actual just close up of the actual doll.
Well, that's very impressive if that's actually the case.
Was
Otherwise, we're
that
looking at
or
like a McDonald's hamburger situation where they make it out of
yeah.
clay or whatever, and they make the burger out of something else and paint it and airbrush it. But anyway, very cool. Like the 1/6 models, they do look really awesome.
Yeah. No, no, I've just confirmed. Yeah, this and the other ones because we had posted the other ones, the other two of the standing ones
Yeah.
with the bike in the background. We had posted those. That and those pictures came out on the 31st. It was either here or it was on it was on one of the community podcasts. It was one of them. But yeah, this is just a like a closed up version of it, and yeah, looks solid. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, it's the hand that really gets me because the hand, like if it's, I don't know if the fingers are articulated, but no,
No, they're not.
they're
No,
not articulated. Okay,
no.
that makes a little more
I,
sense
I,
then.
I think you might be able to like you may be able to swap certain things, but yeah.
Okay.
And,
All right. Well, anyway, very cool.
yes, very cool. And that folding sword really is awesome too. But yeah, definitely
It's
different.
not what was intended. Yes.
Time Bean knows what that's from. She
Yeah.
knows what that's from. Yeah.
All right. Then we also got some lore info from CD Projekt. So we've got some more info about one of the gangs / factions in Cyberpunk 2077. Now, when the music news dropped a while back, and we got Grimes' music video and things like that, and there was that video about the all the music artists that were doing music for Cyberpunk 2077. There was an icon. There was a logo / icons sort of graffiti style thing that kept showing up called the Lizzies, and we figured, and this was
Yeah, we corrected this while we were doing that podcast. I believe it was actually with it was the community cast while we were talking about this. We got confirmation like during it that no, this was a gang, and it wasn't directly tied to Lizzie Wizzy. And
which
so
was
we were a
weird
little
that
bit
they chose to
confused on
include
that.
it then in the music
Yeah,
one,
because
right?
there's so
'Cause it
much
was
there was so much like visual like connection between these two things. Now, that said, we're still pretty sure that this is like that this gang's this is their favorite like band person. Like this is their favorite like singer. We still can't really deny that. Like that's kind of like inherently connected, I think, to the world of cyberpunk, especially in Night City. But they're actually called Lizzies because of Elizabeth / Lizzie. How do you pronounce the
Borden.
name? It's Borden.
Elizabeth Lizzie Borden, who apparently shares the name with an actual real world terrible woman who went to jail for murder or something. But anyway,
Yeah.
there's the Lizzie Borden there's like a nursery rhyme about Lizzie Borden who acts murdered her father. But anyway, in the cyberpunk world,
And mother. I mean,
and
let's
mother,
just,
yeah. But apparently the name of the gang has been changed. They're now called the Mox instead of the Lizzies. Maybe to avoid confusion with Lizzie Wizzy fans or something like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, we had seen Moxies like kind of thrown around too from time to time, but then there's another famous computer game character called Moxie.
Right.
MOXIES. So now these are just MOXes.
The Mox. Yeah. Well, in
MOXES.
the tweet, it's just the Mox.
Mhm.
MOX. So, formed in 2076 after the death of Elizabeth Lizzie Borden, a strip club owner and ex working girl, let's put it that way, who treated her workers fairly and defended them from violent clients. The Mox refer to themselves as those who protect working girls and guys from violence and abuse. So that's one of the factions slash gangs in Cyberpunk 2077. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, is this the start of a series of tweets about the different gangs? We're not 100% sure, but there was a tweet from Artelsorian Games, the company that does the tabletop Cyberpunk games. So, Cyberpunk Red. And they replied to this saying, like, oh, looks like CDPR is doing their own countdown to the dark future. So I don't know if they know something we don't, if they know there's more of these coming, that kind of hints that there might be a series, or maybe they were just remarking on the similarity of those lore drops with their own countdown to the dark future that they did. Is that still happening?
Yep.
Or did they...
Yep.
Yeah, they're continuing.
Well,
okay.
I mean, they're still continuing it slowly, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
They're still working on it. They have so much lore to put out with that game, and we haven't even gotten a little bit of it. Like there's tons more yet to go through. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then we had CDPR's 2019 financial report come out. So Cyb's going to talk about this a little bit, but they had it was a banger year for them, and a lot of that has to do with fantastic sales of The Witcher 3 and also of Gwent coming out on mobile.
Yeah. So Gwent coming out on mobile is responsible for a little over 65% of their income for the last financial year.
For the entire year? Because the report I saw said for the first 3 weeks after it released, like, was what the one article said. Or no, 68% for the first 3 weeks. And then was it still that high throughout the rest of the year?
No, well, I mean, I'm just paraphrasing the meetings.
Okay.
So the financial year, they saw an incredible boost due to Gwent hitting the Switch and the Android devices, and we also saw a huge boost due to again new sales of Witcher 3, due to all of the people that started picking up The Witcher 3 and playing it on again due to the show. So I didn't look up or I didn't examine their week by week thing. I don't think they actually have that. I think that's they don't post those, so I'm pretty sure that's not accurate. Or this is like cutting things into general concepts and stuff. But no, it's like what they've done now with their releases. They have good solid income now coming in through Gwent, through more resales, and this has led to them having a very, very strong year. They made over 500 million in their local currency, which has done wonders for them and for their company. So really positive year. So yeah, now comes the release and build up for information around Cyberpunk 2077, and why I mentioned at the beginning why we're going to be seeing stuff coming out here in April, which we already have, and we're going to see some more stuff over the next few weeks. And that really is boiling down to the requirement of how many people tune out of news during the summertime, but then come back to catch up on things that are happening. So as you're out, doing the things that you do during summertime, there's lots of people who go out to cabins. Some people have kind of headed out a little bit earlier than normal. They kind of sit out there for a couple of months, not doing anything. Sometimes it's just a few weeks, sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a couple months. And especially the younger kids, like there's a lot of kids, a lot of like teens between the ages of like 14 and 20 who are still in school, still in, college or whatever, that they go out and they work during the summertime. They go to work at everything from kids camps to like logging or tree planting, tons of different summer jobs that they're just gone for the whole summer. And they're lucky if they have they're lucky if they have their smartphone to catch up on general stuff from day to day. Um, so yeah, this is what we're going to be seeing. So normally when it comes to advertising, you want to start, if you're launching a product in the fall, you want, again, this is 101 advertising. You want to start to get your advertising in the April to May period before everybody's gone for the summer. And you want to start it kind of building up, and then you want to have, a bunch of stuff come out during the summertime, and then you want to have the same kind of like buzz around your product when it when you hit August and then you go into September. Once you do that, you're going to have, you basically have your advertising like corridor, and that's what I like that's what we are seeing them do here with this. um and again, this is not there's no inside info. This is just marketing 101. So if you're launching a product in August or September, you want to be advertising starting in April at the latest, or kind of late April, and then moving into May. You want to cover as much as you can in May. Kind of gives people, sets it in their mind, gets them thinking about it. Even if they're away for the next 2 months, then they'll come back and they'll be able to like pick up where they left off, because that's typically how the human brain works. So this is what we're seeing here, and this is, I think, they've been kind of alluding to it, the fact that they've had a really strong financial year. They have not had a slowdown in production, as far as we can tell, as far as we've been hearing, as far as the news has been going back and forth. Have they had a slowdown? They're a little bit slower down, but this slowdown was already planned, so they weren't crunching as much once they hit the delay in for the game, which again, they dodged a bullet, because there is, over the next 2 weeks, we're really going to see very minimal shipping. And if they were releasing in,
Their original release date coming out,
yeah, week from tomorrow, if that was the case, they would have hit a wall, a serious wall, and they would have had lots and lots and lots and lots of issues. They still might, right? It depends on how this thing shakes out. But they really dodged a bullet, and I think most of us, like, were sighing a sigh of relief. Now, of course, I would have loved to have played this while in quarantine, and I'm gonna hate this if it drops in September. And I've mentioned before, I do a lot of, like, I'm crazy busy during the summertime, like from the summer month. Usually at this time already, I am like, pushing 12 16-hour days. And the fact that I'm not right now, it's kind of a blessing. But yeah, I'm gonna hate if that gets dragged out into September. But yeah, that's the thing that's going on here. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Will we get something on the 16th? Chances are that looks like it might be kind of, it might be, they might be doing something. It might be small, but they certainly might be doing something, because anytime somebody asks them, they give a lippy kind of like, smirky kind of answer. So
yeah, knowing them, it would surprise me if they didn't.
Yeah. So nothing that we can like say for sure.
Yeah.
But because we like, but it's just the way that it's looking. I would say, there's a good possibility of that. There's a really good possibility of that. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So the other one thing I wanted to talk about is actually first I want to address something that's been mentioned in the chat and was being mentioned on our Discord server as well. Was that it feels to a lot of people like actual game info is lacking. We're getting some of these lore drops, which personally I find incredibly interesting. But I realize people are more interested in actual gameplay mechanics and things like that. What
Yeah,
does the game
yeah.
actually look like? So, do you think we'll start seeing that kind of thing coming up right
I
away?
I don't think so. I think we're going to be kind of light on that until we get the next big reveal, which will be probably sometime midsummer. So, like big reveal, I'm talking about like a 20 or anywhere between 10 and 40 minutes of gameplay. Um, if we were to follow suit, because we've kind of gotten that 2 years in a row, it would make sense that we kind of get that. But don't be surprised if we don't, because um, just due to the fact of how the game works and how it functions, they may be trying to keep away as much as they can. They might be trying to, um, they might be trying to keep a lot of this stuff as surprise. They definitely want to do this as far as the story goes, because there's a whole lot of plot here, and you're going to be walking into this. This is going to be the equivalent of the first season of Game of Thrones, and in what is going to be a long, long, long compiled list of lore and story and content and characters for you to dig into. Do you want the whole first season, like knowing what you know, for those of you who watched it, knowing what you know of Game of Thrones, do you really want to be bombarded with and have all that plot line just kind of like thrown out there? And again, it's like we've got we got real smart. Our audience is really smart. That's why you guys come here, because we're not some plebs, right? We're all, as a community, pretty intelligent. And when we watch things like trailers, I watched one of the funniest things from one of the funniest YouTube videos I've seen in a while, where it was like a movie trailer, but it gave away all of the plot points of the movie. And it's the mocking thing. They were mocking the concept of these trailers, that they put out the movie, they include the last scene, the big shock, the surprise, and the best joke, all in the trailer. It's all in the trailer. You've seen the trailer. You don't even need to watch anything else. It's just like, nope, no, no. You saw it all. You know exactly what's going on. This is all the funniest bits of the movie. You don't even need to go watch the movie anymore, because you know exactly what happens. And that's boring, and we don't like that. We don't, and we don't want to see that. And they've been very cautious in giving us like early content really only, or like narrowed content. And I mean, even as it is, I can like deconstruct most of what the game is going to be like, most of the story plot points, and then how that like marries up. The only thing I can't really like put a finger on for sure yet, although I'm not going to be surprised, like I kind of know how the game is going to end in the several options that you'll have, and it'll kind of be like one of these like choice things. But like, I'm not positive on it yet, but I have a feeling, and I'm very rarely wrong when it comes to these feelings. So it's like, yeah, I kind of know where this is going. I
Hmm.
kind of know, I'm feeling where this is going, and I'm pretty sure that this is gonna, yeah, this is gonna happen that one way. And I don't want it to be spoiled, and I certainly don't want it to be spoiled to the community by them putting out a trailer that includes one of the last like few minutes of the show. I think it was Fear. I think it was Fear. One of the first Fear trailers, first Fear games. They had a trailer, like a little GameSpot kind of thing, and they gave away the ending. And it's like, okay, that was dumb. like like oh look, there's I've been watching a cinematic. I really hope my character doesn't die. Oh, of course the character didn't die. Why? Because you already proved the ending. And so that's what we don't want that, and they don't want that because of all the lore. They're being very, very, very careful on this. They've been super tight-lipped. When talking to staff and stuff, it's like there's just an agreed upon thing. There's no questions about the story, no questions about the major plot points. period. You know, they could talk about things, how things are going on at the office, as far as like, you know, how everybody's handling the stress and all that kind of stuff. But as far as it comes down to like, you know, that kind of info, no, and we don't want it either, because we don't want that out there. Like, I don't want anybody to report on the plot points, because it's just not something that I think is good. And I mean, just with this whole Resident Evil 8 thing leak that just came out, it's like there's a major spoiler in that. Just reading the leak, it's like, oh well, that's, I mean, wow. If this is true, I mean, this is just going to spoil what would have been a really big moment like early on in the game. Like, oh my god, oh, you know, oh yay, oh, and but no, now that's gone because somebody posted the leak online, and it's like, oh, why? You know, you don't want that to happen. And so, you know, in either case, the company or somebody leaking this info is going to kind of like take away that you know, experience. And that's what the games are, especially games from CD Projekt. They're about story. They're about feeling and having that sense of like adventure and style and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if you don't have it, then you know, yeah. So
Tarika Winnigan says, all I want right now is a playable demo. Now, if they were to release a playable demo of the game on the what was supposed to be the original release date, I mean, that would be amazing. We don't, I mean, that would be amazing. No hints of that, but I'm sure they'll do something on that day. But do you think it would be, like, is that the kind of thing they might consider doing, actually putting out a playable demo far in
no.
advance?
No, I don't think so. Demos are starting to come back. They really are. And I've got to give credit to a lot of companies that are starting to embrace the concept of a demo, you know, and starting to showcase this around. So we had the Resident Evil demo. It went over really well. I am through the roof with the demo for Trials of Mana. I have a video coming. It's going to be great. I'm going to show you guys some like, if you're interested in that game, I'm going to show you some things that you can do right now in during the next like week or two. The game drops on the I believe it's the 24th. You can get some really important farming done right now, and that will carry over to the main game. So yes, this is super important. And so stuff like this, yes, it's coming back, but I don't think that they have the time and have had the toolkit to do that. It's a little harder with their engine, and you don't necessarily want to put that out. It's a little different if it's built on like a more common engine like Unreal, right? If it's built on Unreal 4, it's easy to do a small demo. And then to kind of have that as a self-contained thing and put it out to the community. Not so the case with their engine, because it's their engine, it's their proprietary tech. I think I said that word wrong. And to them, you know, they would need to do a lot of extra work to make that happen. I hope that they embrace this going forward, because it seems like a really good thing to do. But no, I would not count it in, and I believe that just boils down to just a technical issue. Again, if this was built in a more common engine, it'd be a lot easier to do, but in this case, no.
All right. You are listening to the Augmented Reality Podcast. We love seeing everybody so active in the live chat. If you want to keep the conversation going after the live broadcast, we welcome you to join our Discord community. You can find the link in the description below. It's a place where you can chat with us and other Triple S fans about all the things we love to talk about. You can collaborate on stuff. You can find people to game with. You can just engage in all of the hilarious conversations or just read them. Click the link below to join, and be sure to say hi to us in the welcome channel. Also, if you haven't yet, please do slam that like button on this YouTube video. That really helps us out. It tells YouTube that you appreciate this content, so they share it with more people. And also leave comments if you are if you're listening after the fact. We've got tons of conversation happening in the live chat, but if you missed the live chat, you can actually read it. If you watch the replay of the video on YouTube, you can read the chat as it's playing. But also, yeah, leave comments down below. Let us know what you think about all of the things we're talking about here. All right, so a few other things to talk about today. So Resident Evil 3, the remake, was has been out now for a few days, and it's generally it's generally well received. There's some criticisms for some of the areas that have been cut out of the game. There's been some areas from the original game that were cut out, and then other areas added in. The biggest criticism seems to be that the game is a little short.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking like 5 hours, which
It, I and I think that is so. Again, with remakes and how they work, people remember remakes and their experiences with it through rose colored glasses, without a doubt. Um, I think you can speed run Resident Evil in under 2 hours. I think you might be even able to do it less than that. Um, the original. This one is a continuation. Again, I'm not surprised. Really not surprised. And this is where, people, after having played a lot of these really good open world games, everything from Skyrim to Zelda, you have so much that you can like muddle around and just do, right? Well, that's not so much the case with these very linear games, especially when they're a remake of the original and they're trying to like keep with it as best as they can. And again, um, I understand some people are really annoyed with the missing areas, but as I've said before, I think I said this on the Saturday show, it's not their fault that the original devs were able to include so many extra areas in their game. But that is a lot harder to do today, to just have like so many different sets. Like when you're talking one or two sets, that's easy peasy. When you're talking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the difficulty goes through the roof on that kind of stuff. You're spending so much resources, so much time on duplicating new areas and stuff like that. Again, could they have found a way to include this stuff? Could they have found a way to shortcut some of the problems? Could they have found a way to incorporate new tech? Yeah, they could have, but they didn't, because they were going the way that they were going with it. And again, you can be upset with that 100%. You can totally be upset by that. Monsters and other things that were left out, totally understand. And this is why newer games are starting to focus on, so many new games. The next Elder Scrolls game is incorporating scan technology in. So they're going out to the world. They have people that just travel and find interesting, cool places, and they just take high res scans of those places. And then you take those places, you can chop them up, and then just drop them in, or like cut them down to like just pieces. Like you don't even have to include like a whole rock. You can just include a section of a rock, or an interior wall, but not the exterior wall, or an exterior wall, not the interior wall. Like there's so many things that they're able to do with this now. And there's some pretty cool things that they're going to be able to do. That's quite interesting. And you like, this is stuff that they're working on and they're building on and that kind of stuff. And you will have this like deep, almost like at some point we're going to get these worlds that are just absolutely massive, that just don't have an end to them. And that's the thing that's coming. Is that a thing that they had access to doing this game? No. Does Capcom have this technology? No. They have not even invested in this stuff. I'm sure they're going to start moving in that direction now, because they've been like, what they've been relying on is dedicated work from employees that crunch like you would never believe, that just work on areas and artists and stuff like that. Eventually they have to eventually they're going to have to expand themselves and kind of open up what they're doing as far as this kind of stuff goes. But yeah, I understand it. But aside from that, the game has been received really, really well. Like really, really well. And I gotta, like, again, it's short, but I think that, like, I remember playing through that game in an afternoon. The original one. So
Yeah, it's so the originals were, they were not super long games, but I mean when it comes
mhm,
to my question about this is when it comes to AAA budget games in the modern day, like yes, it is more complicated now to create levels than back when,
mhm,
back in the day when things by necessity everything was a lot simpler. Your assets were a lot
yeah,
simpler. But
yeah. I mean, you just
in this
copy
day and age,
paste
there are a
and
lot of
use.
linear games that come out with, they have a set number of areas, but they're very large still, and you can play through them in like it takes way more than 5 hours.
Hmm.
I'm thinking of Doom specifically, but also Dishonored 2, games like that. There's only like Dishonored 2, there's 9 or so missions, but the maps are very large and they have there's a lot to them, a lot you can explore in them. And so I'm just wondering what did they just not allot the average amount? Like, did they just not devote as many resources to this as they would if they were creating like a new brand new game? Is it like, oh, it's a remake, so we're going to only give it 60% of the budget, or like what would have led to so much being cut out?
Just I think it just boiled down to time,
Yeah,
and just time and the ability to like. It's really hard to recreate some of the things in that world that they're trying to create. Um, like the clock tower. That's just a really difficult thing to replicate. And again, I'm not making excuses for them as far as like, well, they could have found a way, but I mean, that is when you're doing this is not a massive team. They didn't have, hundreds and hundreds of people working on this for 4 years. Um, they had a smaller team working on it for a little bit shorter of amount of time. And again, you just don't have that option to do absolutely everything that some people think of, right? And so, yeah, no, it's for sure difficult to figure out exactly how or you know
right.
what to cut is it's a pretty brutal thing. That said, I mean, I think that they have room for improvement. Um, and I gotta say that the multiplayer seems to be doing well, so that's kind of interesting. Um, yeah, I see how that kind of goes because that concept of the 1v4, it's been around for a while. It was done so poorly in some games, but it's been doing a little bit better in others. Yeah, it's the way that it goes, and of course, I hope to see more of them. But I think the criticism of like, well, it's a short game. I think that's flawed because the original was a short game. You know, I remember watching people play. I had friends over that played. I know, shocking. I have friends. Um, there was this. There was a time where like I would sit somebody down and they would play like the opening, essentially like the what would have taken me 15 minutes, right, to go through in the game when I first played it. They spent 4 hours doing that because they died continuously. They kept on trying to explore. They were trying to figure out the nicks and the natches. They learned how to like fight the first zombie, and that took them like an entire like afternoon, right? This is what gaming was when this game came out originally. And again, it's like when we look at like you look at any re-release, right? It's like people like sit down and they'll power through it in like just a short amount of time. It's like I remember when classic WoW came out, and some people took almost a year to hit 60. Now people do that in 20 less than 12 hours or less than 20 hours, right? And it's like, how do they do that? Well, they're not stopping to smell the roses, which is what people were doing when the original game came out. And we're we're talking about Resident Evil 3. Um, and so yeah, and actually, Final Fantasy 7 is actually probably where we should kind of lean the subject now, because that's coming out in just a few days. And will they have the same problem? Will they have will the game be as long as the original, or will they have also cut corners and reduced had a reduction on the general like scope and size of the world and all that kind of stuff? Are we going to see that? And right now we don't know. Could be. We just don't know yet. I'm hoping that they do a good job with that, because I mean, they've been working on it for what, like 8-9 years now. So like, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
I gotta find this out. When was the first like Final Fantasy 7 remake announced?
Yeah. In other Final Fantasy VII news, though, due to shipping slowdowns and stuff, Square Enix shipped the physical copies of Final Fantasy VII Remake early. And they're actually on sale now, even though the official release date isn't for a couple of days. Now, if you buy it on, is it playable or is there some kind of a lock in place? I'm not sure. But the article that I'm reading on this says this is causing frustration for those who intend to download the game rather than buy it on disc. Some fans are trying to push Square Enix to launching the digital version early because of this, but they will not. They're not budging on this. They said, while we understand the frustration of seeing the game on sale in some locations, the bulk of our shipments to retailers around the globe are still scheduled to arrive in stores for April 10th. So changing the digital release date at this point in time could lead to logistical issues that could disrupt the digital launch for everyone.
Yeah.
So, whatever that means.
Again, I have to sit people down that are really peeved off that their physical copy's not showing up in this day and age, in this time, with all the stuff going on. I gotta look at them and say, seriously? Seriously? What is wrong with you? Like, seriously. You're expecting your game to show up when people are having a hard time getting groceries to show up at their door. I mean, I don't think anybody in our community is that selfish and narcissistic, but that is an incredibly selfish and narcissistic thing to think. That how dare a game be delayed because of a worldwide thing that's killing so many people and has the potential to kill so many more. We could talk about the numbers. We can get into that. And there's some good signs with that's coming out recently, and some other stuff that's good news. But for crying out loud, like, pull your head out of your backside. Sorry you have to wait an extra day or two. Like if you're really that angry about it, get it on digital as well. I mean, if you have the ability to be that angry and waste that much time on Twitter screaming about why on earth, you should be getting your game before people are getting their, basic shipments of rice and beans. I mean, it's just, maybe you have enough money to just buy it also on digital, right? Because I mean, that's honestly what you're doing, right? Is you're buying the physical copy as a collector's edition piece. But I mean, I like, you're going to be playing this on some kind of a downloaded system. I mean, right? Like anyways.
In any case,
I think that, yeah. In any case, again, I understand that it messes with people's days and times, and that's frustrating for sure. And in any other circumstance, we'd be saying, "Oh, come on, guys, get it together." But I mean, seriously, entire cargo haulers have been turned around in the middle of the ocean and ordered back to their original port because of issues and stuff and crazy stuff and insane stuff going on right now. Like, come on. Like, come on. You've got to have at least some oh yes, this insane thing is going on right now. I understand it. Let's just deal with it. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. According to estimates based on reviewers and things like that, it sounds like the Final Fantasy VII Remake can be played in somewhere between 30 to 40 hours, maybe longer if you're a completionist about it. So it sounds like it won't have the same issues, but we'll have to see when on full release we'll have a better idea, because we all know how some of those pre-release reviewers can play games.
Yeah.
All right. And then there are rumors out about Resident Evil 8, and there were a batch of rumors before. The new batch of rumors is from the same source, and this is also the same source that leaked the existence of the Resident Evil 3 remake before it was announced. So either this individual is a very lucky guesser, or there's some credibility to this. Of course, always take rumors with a grain of salt, but we thought we'd mention this just because there is some credibility, or there's a little bit of credibility to it, but of course could be it's impossible to say for 100% sure. So treat it as rumor, not as fact. But we will let you look those up if you are interested, because they do contain spoilers. So we won't go into heavy detail about that here. In fact, I think that's all there. That's all I'm interested in saying on it right at the moment.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing. Looked at it, it was like, oh, well, this is potentially very interesting, fascinating. I have more or less stopped caring about the actual storyline, just because it's like, I mean, the last game was so kind of weird and wonky. They're doing more like this like spiritual element now, and apparently that's going to come into the next one. I don't know if that belongs in a zombie game. Apparently, the next one's going to have some like werewolf component to it. So,
I mean, zombie. There's two. Now, I mean, some zombie scenarios are sort of supernatural. Whereas some are more like, it's a virus kind of a thing that's going around or whatever.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're kind of blending the two.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great series. I'm not saying it's bad by any means, but it's just like my personal interest has not been kept very high with this. Of course, I still like, Jill Valentine, a bunch of other characters, Chris, like they're all iconic characters to like video game growing up experience, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I have a hard time caring as much today as I would have like, years and years ago when I picked up Resident Evil Nemesis for the first time.
Right.
Cared about it far more back then than I do now. And it's also mostly due to the fact that I just it's just time. It's just time, really. And it's not that I disrespect it. It's just that I have other things that I'm paying more attention to. And still, I'm still like happy that they're having good success, and I like that the remake has done very well. One of the best things you can say about the Resident Evil 3 remake is how well Jill carries the story. And all I want to say is like, oh, what? You mean a game that was, made years and years ago, pinnacle of like, gamer, not pinnacle, one of the many pinnacles to early gaming, early generation gaming, had a female protagonist that people liked and was really cool and that they really enjoyed? What? I thought that didn't exist. Because, that's what we're going around to try and create all the time now. It's like, or maybe it's always been there. I mean, just maybe it's always been there, and maybe it's just when somebody comes up with a bad story that has a terrible character that ruins their childhood because of all the lore that they just crush and stamp on and walk away from and be like, oh, we don't care about this because money, maybe. And when we say, hey, can you guys stop being greedy SOBs and stop ruining our childhood, for them to turn around and say, well, that clearly sounds like you're some kind of ism. So, yeah, maybe it's that. I don't know.
Hashtag
just saying.
Cyberrant. No, I completely agree. It was like the fuss that was made over Captain Marvel.
It's like early
Wonder Woman had just come out and did very well and was really good movie. Like, people loved it. On the whole, most people loved that movie.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, Captain Marvel looks kind of boring and is not a good character. How dare you? Like
how dare you? How dare you want a script that actually has an interesting, collectively smart, concept to it with actual character development, and maybe somebody who doesn't
No, Alita too. Yeah, that's right, Sunglair. Alita.
Well, here's my top early video gaming, like video gaming that I woke up on a Saturday morning as a kid in pajamas, run downstairs, beat my brother to the computer, and play games, or go over to somebody's house who had a Nintendo because my parents refused to get us a Nintendo. What's my top gaming characters? Number one character, Zelda. Which I mean turns out to be Link, but whatever. Number two character, Jill of the Jungle. All right, that's going way back, Jill of the Jungle. And then 3 is Princess Peach, because I actually the one Nintendo game that I actually played more of was the second one, and which you played as you had your choice to play as whoever you wanted, and I played all the time. I would play as Princess Peach, just because she was funner to look at than Mario. It as like a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, like whatever. Yeah. So and then fourth was Metroid. So out of my top 4 characters, 3 of them were women, and the 5th one was Mario. So
there you go.
And trust me, if they had given me the option to play Zelda as Zelda, I would have jumped at that chance, because that's a cool concept. I still think that that's a concept that they really missed out on. But yeah, because I mean I used to watch the Zelda TV show, the kids cartoon. Oh, it's so terrible now. It's so terrible now. I pulled it up because I was like, I remember the show. It was so great. It was so cool. It was the best thing that I had ever saw. I watched the first episode, and I'm like, wow, that was so bad. That was terrible. The voice acting, the animation, everything. How did I remember this? So beautiful, vibrant, and intelligent. Oh, it probably, because I was remembering it through rose-colored glasses as a kid. And that's fine. It's fine. That's what being a kid is all about. But yeah, it's just like, whatever.
Yeah. No, Neon, Tomb Raider is another good example.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think there are certain people who will point to Lara Croft and say, oh, she was just meant to be objectified. But, yeah. Miss Pac-Man too. All right. Well, anyway, that's all we have for today. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening live. Thank you for joining us for the show today and supporting by either listening live or after the fact. Don't forget to slam that like button if you haven't already. We really appreciate that very, very much. And I want to extend a special thanks to our Patreon supporters and our channel members, who are especially important during this period of time when ad revenues are way down. So we really appreciate those people who make this content possible. Our big dang heroes on Patreon, Josh, Robin, Timebean, and 2 anonymous supporters there. And those are not all the Patreon supporters, but those are the ones at the top tier that we mention by name, and we really appreciate all of you at all the tiers. And also our channel members on YouTube, Mr. Pazdernik, Jer Schultz, Game Notes, Night City Punk, and Terror K. If you're listening after the fact on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, or any of the other platforms that this podcast goes to, we appreciate your interactions there as well. Don't forget that you can listen to the live show on YouTube on Wednesdays and Saturdays, where you can interact with us and other listeners and be a part of the discussion. You can also find all kinds of other gaming content on the YouTube channel as well. See the Discord server for exact times and schedules. The Augmented Reality podcast is a presentation of the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, news updates, and tons more quality gaming content. Thank you so much again. My name is Ash, and on behalf of Cyb, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you all again very soon.